Brothers virtual experience. I am super excited to be here, and I just want to thank Bronner Brothers and the Bronner Brothers family. I just want to thank the Bronner Brothers family for giving me this opportunity to be here. My name is Tammie B. Yes, Tammie B. You guys, I am your Bronner Brothers August 2019 Salon versus Salon battle winner, and it was a super amazing experience. And what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is some hair color. If you saw the show, you'll notice that we had models with beautiful color, beautiful cuts, and beautiful styles. So I'm going to share my experience of going through a hair color placement with you guys or the same way we do for all of our shows and events. All right, so let's get started. All right, so this is my beautiful model, Maria. She has modeled for us for about 4 years now, and I say myself, Tammie B brand, as well as Kurt Pro. Now, as you can see, the first thing we always want to do when it comes to hair color is we always want to do a consultation and pretty much look at the hair, and because hair tells a story. It tells you what the hair has been through. It's also going to help you decide what you need to do to go through the steps to be able to get your desired results. All right, so as we can see, the first thing I've done here is I've found her natural levels out. You always want to make sure you start out correctly, because if you start off wrong, guess what? You're going to end up wrong. All right, so as you can see here, she's working with 3 different levels in her hair. All right, and levels are the measurement of light and darkness. Okay, so here, when I use my natural level finder to determine her natural level, I was able to find out she was actually between a level 2 and a level 3. So she's like a level 2.5. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a level 2 so I can be safe versus sorry. I don't want it to be too bright for her. I don't want it to be too bright for her, and you might also want to consider that when you're working with your clients as well. If they're getting color for the first time, it's better to go with the lower level than the higher level. So I'm going to go with the level 2 here, and then in her mid shaft here, you can tell she's like a level 5, and then her ends are a level 7. So I'm going to approach this with my clear understanding of how to take care of hair color, because this is a real life situation that we can run into in the salons. And I want to be able to help you guys be able to get beautiful, vibrant results when it comes to a client coming in with different levels in her hair, and so that you guys can understand how to work through that, okay? All right, so I'm a little bit old school, so I am going to, I always separate down the back of her head, and I'm going to work in my 4 sections just like I learned in cosmetology school, you guys. You know, I always try to keep the basics down so that I can keep things simple. I do not believe that hair color has to be complicated, all right? It's just a matter of a few things that you need to understand when it comes to hair color, like, for instance, the characteristics of hair. We need to understand the characteristics of hair. We need to understand porosity and density. We need to know our levels, our tones, because understanding and knowing those type of things are going to help us become great colorists. And then we take it to another level and start advancing with different color placements. You start advancing with different color placements to help just be that next level hairstylist, okay? All right, so I pretty much section off everything. I want to get everything out the way so I can work in one section. All right, so our end goal is Maria like warm tones. So I'm going to work with a 5.5 mahogany. I'm going to give her a deep, rich shadow root, and then we're going to go through and just lift up everything, starting with the color section first, and here working our way up through the new growth and then through the ends. All right, once I get that nice even palette, then I'm going to go through and give her a variations of shades of coppers and reds to add some dimension to her hair. All right, so I'm going to start here in my nape area, clip and pin everything up, out my way. All right, so I can clearly see the line of demarcation where her new growth is and the level 5 and the level 7. All right, so I'm going to mix up with my lightener. So I am using a cream lightener. I like to use cream lightener because they're gentle on the hair, and I can get up to about 7 levels of lift. I'm using 20 volume developer because I don't want to rush the process. I just want to make sure I get a good even lift out of her hair. Okay, so now that I have my lightener with my 20 volume, there's 2 more products I want to add, and these are must-have for me. This is like insurance. All right, this makes sure that my client's hair stays strong. It also makes sure that I'm mending her ends and also conditioning it as well. So what I have is Kurt Pro's protein additive as well as Kurt Pro protective oil complex. All right, my protein additive is going to give me strength with three proteins: carbocysteine, hydrolyzed wheat, and hydrolyzed soy. So I'm able to strengthen, moisturize, and work with my client's porosity as well. All right, my oil complex helps to keep me from over processing my color. These also can be used in relaxers as well as alone for great conditioning agents also. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take a capful of your protein additive and add to your lightener formula. Okay, now I've been using Kurt Pro for a while, so the cap is actually a 1/2 ounce, but I've been using it for a while, so I know what a 1/2 ounce is. All right, when it comes to your oil complex, you only need about 2 or 3 drops depending on the length of her hair. So with the length of her hair, I'm going to add 4 to 5. All right, so I am going to mix this up in my lightener really good. I have a good consistency going here. And I'm super excited because not only do I know I'm going to get a beautiful color, but I'm also going to get healthier. I'm also going to help my client have healthier, beautiful, more manageable hair at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to take my foil because I want to protect her neck area. Got my first section. I'm going to lay down my foil. Now my first application, again, is going to be here on my level 5. And the reason being is because color doesn't lift color, all right? So if color doesn't lift color, the only way we can lift it is by pre-lightening, all right? So I'm going to pre-lighten this color area, which is the darkest level 5, and I'm going to leave my level 7s out, and I'm going to come back and pull through towards the end. But for right now, I just want to continue through her hair, making sure I only get it on that level 5. Okay? Also, you guys, I want you to notice that as I apply my product, I am using a generous amount. You want to make sure that you fully saturate the hair strands so that your product can process evenly, okay? Otherwise, you can stand a chance of creating more lines of demarcations in the hair. So I'm just going to continue to do this, pre-lightening this band so that I can get an even palette to begin with placing her color. Okay, so again, I'm just going to continue through applying on the mid shaft here, and then we'll come back. I'm going to complete that through the whole head, and then we'll come back and then I add to her new growth here. All right, let's do it. All right, so now I'm at my last 2 sections, working on that level 5 line of demarcation in there. Okay. Just again, taking my lightener and using first application, just apply your color on, and then you also want to make sure that you try to keep your brush as clean as possible. All right, so first application, get your color on, and then we're going to feather it in that band so that we can get a seamless blend from her new growth as well as to the rest of her ends when we get ready to apply her permanent color on. All right, so just continue. Make sure you get good saturation. Remember, saturation is very important. I would rather mix up more product and have it ready on deck versus having to run out, because if you got to run out and go mix up some more, then you know the lightener that you've already applied to the hair is already processing. So remember, it's super important to have everything that you need when it comes to doing a hair color in place before you get started, okay? So again, just working on that line of demarcation band right there. And this should be my last section here. Make sure everything is nice and smooth and that I can really see what I'm doing here. Get a nice bead of lightener again. First application. Saturate well. All right. And then I'm going to feather, turning my brush to the side, feathering this lightener on so I can make sure I don't have any hard lines. Okay? And make sure you get the other side as well. All right? Same technique. Apply your color on in that area and then feather so that you make sure you get the levels of lift that you need. So once I get that in, I always like to kind of just melt it in, make sure that I've got good saturation. And if you notice, I'm using my fingers to saturate the hair, make sure that it's really good saturated, but I'm not moving the lightener off the hair strands. So don't squeeze it tightly like that. That's gonna leave another line that you have to work hard to get out of. So just make sure your lightener is nice and even, okay? So now that we have her, this is what this process looks like. Now that we're working on her mid shaft, now we're gonna go in and start applying. I'm gonna give her a dark shadow root, but I want to stay at least an inch off her scalp. So this next process, I'm gonna go in an inch away from her scalp and blend up into this area here where we have this line of demarcation, okay? And also, I did keep, as you can see, my creases or my partings in. So this is going to help me easily go through these sections as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna separate that a little bit. Okay, so for this section, so this process is new growth. We're gonna focus on the new growth. And the reason why we started with the light again with the color section is because color is a little bit harder to lift out. It's gonna take it a little bit longer to lift versus trying to lift her natural. We all know lifting virgin hair is gonna lift a lot faster than it would color hair. So now that I'm working on her new growth, again, apply my color. And I'm gonna work with the foil, placing that underneath. Apply my color, and then I'm going to again feather up to 1 inch away from the scalp, making sure that I do not create a line of demarcation. And I'm gonna blend that right into that midsection or that first application of lightener that we created. All right, so let's do another section here. Again, my partings are still there. so I can easily work through the hair. All right, get the color on. Turn your brush to the side and feather up an inch away from the scalp, ensuring that I do not create a line of demarcation, and then feather that down into that midsection again. All right, so this is going to be the second process, and I'm going to continue this just like I did with the first section all the way around her head, so that I can make sure I get that even lift that I want to get for the total look that we're going to do. All right, apply your color or your lightener. Feather up. Turn your brush to the side and feather. As you can see, I'm creating highs and lows in there. Some extremely high ones, some low ones, so that I can just break that up and it'll all just blend and flow together. Okay, so I'm going to continue this process all the way through around her head, and then we'll work it through the ends. All right, so working on my last two sections here, I'm going to split this in half. And guys, always work in sections that you can control, as well as sections that you can make sure that you're getting full saturation on the top and the bottom as well. And typically, if you make like 1 or 1/4 inch sections, then you can get those type of results. All right, so last couple of sections, make sure I apply my lightener on. Okay, and if you notice, could you lean your head for me? If you notice, I am leaving, my first application is further down than my feathering up, all right? Because I want to leave room so I can feather up. Okay, so I'm going to get my color on, or my lightener on. Once I get my lightener on, turn it to the side, and you can brush up to create those lines. Or if you're pretty good with it, you have a good eye for it, then you can, brush it down. But if you need a little bit of help of creating, that blend without a hard line, then you can brush your lightener up. And as you can see, it gives you a nice blend there, or a nice transition there as well. All right, so just continuing, bringing that through, making sure I got good saturation on both sides as well. No line of demarcation underneath. Use my fingers, make sure it's good and saturated. If you just so happen to pick up a section that may be a little bit thicker, then just use your fingers and slightly work it through without moving the lightener off of the hair. Okay, so there we go. Now we're gonna work on this last section. Okay, apply your lightener again. Nice amount of product. Then you can blend up, feather up to get that seamless blend. Or remember, if you're more skilled, then you can brush it down. All right, lift the hair up, make sure I got good saturation on both sides. If I didn't check this, then once my color finished, then I would have a dark bottom on the side of each section, and that's not gonna look pretty when you finish. All right, so make sure you're double checking and making sure you got saturation on both sides. And again, use more product. It's better to use more product, get the results you're looking for the first time, versus going through a color, letting it process, and then coming back to it, and you're having to go back and fix your mistakes. All right, so this is the second process. Remember, we did mid-shaft where that band was. Now we're doing her new growth, leaving out a 1 to 1 inch band on her root so that I can apply my my reddish base when we get ready for that in the next step. Now I'm going through and I am going to bring everything down to her ends, all right? So by the time we finish allowing this to process, we should have a beautiful, seamless, pre-lightened canvas to be able to work with and be creative with, all right? So now I'm just gonna go through my ends, and when it comes to my ends, I do a little technique that really helped me move fast. I kind of learned this from working at hair shows behind the scenes. It allows me to be able to get color on fast and be able to work on a number of models for the day, because we used to have to do 40 models. I'm sorry. We used to have to do 40 models a show. So when you're in situations like that, you have to really work fast and you have to really know what you're doing, okay? So the technique I'm using here is I'm using my hand as a board. So I place my section in my hand and then I glide the product down. Make sure you have a good amount again. And this is another reason why I say go ahead and mix up enough product, all right? So I get my product on and then I paint back and forth on the hair strands, making sure that I got saturation on both sides from the ends, from mid shaft to ends. So again, that technique, using my hand as a board, bringing my product down, getting it on there, and then swiping back and forth and working it with my fingers. This is a really quick technique that you guys can use even in the salon behind the chair, so that you can be able to move on and possibly get another client in the chair, okay? So by the time you get these techniques down, you guys are gonna be amazing colorists. All right, so I'm just gonna continue going through doing this process all the way through the ends, all the way around to the opposite side of her head. All right, so I'm finishing on my last section here. Again, applying my lightener and bringing it through the ends. You guys, practice this technique. Practice make perfect. Practice is gonna make you greater. All right, so just apply the lightener. Make sure you got good saturation all the way around. All right, so at this point, I am going to let her process. It's gonna take about 30-35 minutes because she's always been processing. As you can see, she's lifting up beautifully, and we're gonna get a nice seamless blend or color here. And I'm going to let her process, and we're going to take her back, rinse it out, give her a shampoo with our Trifactor shampoo conditioner. And the reason why that is, give her a shampoo with my Trifactor shampoo. And the reason why that is my choice of shampoo is because it's sulfate-free, it's gentle on the hair, it's going to help to build and strengthen the hair as well as add moisture while we're giving her this color service. Right? So we'll go ahead, let her process, and bring her back soon. All right, you guys, so we have finished our pre-lightening process. Now I know sometimes you guys are probably looking at this and like, oh my God, how do you get that out? Because this is a real life situation that we experience in the salon, right? But you guys, don't panic. It's okay, all right? Take your time, relax, and do what you know, all right? So this is what I do. When I see a canvas like this, I believe in working with what I have. So I'm gonna use tones that help me work and blend within this level 7 that she's at, so that I can make sure everything just flows and blend perfectly. And I'm not going to take the chance of pre-lightening her again, which she has very healthy hair, and it's really great because I've also used my protein additive and my oil complex to help maintain the tensile strength and elasticity in her hair. So she really has great, good hair, and we are at the process where now it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna put on her her permanent color as well as her semi-permanent colors and just blend everything together, and it's gonna come out beautifully. I absolutely love this part. So you guys, if you're having problems with this area of color, I have the perfect gift for you, all right? I have a coloring book, all right? This is Tammie B's coloring book. This is your theory as well as a workbook that goes along with it to help you work through each section so that you can clearly understand what hair color means, all right? And that you can work and be more comfortable with hair color. So you guys, you can get my book at my website. It's www.itstammyb.com, as well as if you want to connect with me on Instagram and Facebook, it's Tammie as well, all right? So check that out. But for now, let's get started with this color, all right? So I have a 5 mahogany mixed up that I'm going to apply to her base, her new growth here. That's gonna give me a nice mahogany red hue. I also added some red intense color in there so I can absolutely get that strong, beautiful shine and even vibrant color when it comes to her base here. So I'm just gonna go through and apply it through, and I'm also actually gonna bring it down her mid shaft some. So, turn this for me, sweetie. All right, so just going through and applying it to the root. And I always like to start in the nape area. It just makes it easier for me because once I work underneath, I'm able to just lay everything on top, okay? So now I have my sections. I'm going through and I'm gonna apply it to the root, and I'm gonna bring it down through this yellow here to this area so that it just all flows and blend well together. And from that, I'm going to go through and then begin alternating my colors. And I have some beautiful colors here that I've mixed up that I'm going to alternate throughout her hair. And you guys, I absolutely love customizing color. I don't know about you, but if you like doing hair color, then customizing your hair color is a great thing to do. Reason being is because it also allows your clients not to be able to duplicate your work, but outside of that, you know, it just gives you that insurance or that confidence to be able to be versatile with your hair color placements. Okay, so I'm just going through and I'm gonna bring this all the way down through this mid shaft here. Let me make sure. Bring it down through this mid shaft here. So that color will pop also. And I am going to be using my hands as my board and melting that down. Taking my next section, doing the same thing. Bringing it down so I can get that nice transition from my base into my first color here. All right, so same thing, just keep repeating that process. And once I get these colors on, then that's when I like to go back through and start doing my melting of my different colors here. And I have some red that I mixed up along with a pretty sun-kissed orange. And then I also customized a purple as well that's gonna be really pretty on her hair. Okay, so again, just going through. And continuing this process, making sure I melt so everything just flows and blends well together. Okay. All right. So get that color in there good. Make sure you get good saturation, so that everything comes out seamlessly and vibrant from your first application. Okay, so as you can see, now I have my base on, and I did bring my base down the mid shaft a little. But at this point, this is where it really gets fun. This is where you start melting all your different colors together. And I do have a couple of different colors. I have some red over here that I mixed up, orange, and some purple. So now I'm gonna go through and just start melting my sections together. Grab a foil so I can make sure I protect her neck area. Lay that foil on there. All right, so this is my first section. So now I'm gonna have a beautiful mahogany red faded out into a lighter red, but deeper red. And so at this point, I want to just go ahead and start blending and melting my colors in, just creating a bunch of different dimensions in her hair with the color, and so that it'll just be really pretty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off with my purple. And you guys, this part right here is very, random. It's up to you. We're all artists, we're all creative. So I love color because I can be creative. I can mix and blend my own colors that I choose and just make everything work together. So now I've added my purple, and I am gonna be using my fingers a lot during this process to help blend and melt everything together, okay? So make sure you have a towel on hand, because you're going to need to cleanse your hands pretty often so that you don't end up putting color on top of color and creating different variations that way. Okay, so I have a purple there. Now I'm going to go with my orange. All right, and blend right there. Now I know you say, hey, why did she put purple right next to orange? Because they're complementary colors, and you think it would brown out. Actually, that's not true. Only way the color will blend out is if you have the three primary colors available and you're on the same level. All right, I'm going to be on different levels. My orange is lighter than my purple, so of course my purple will take over and melt into my orange. Okay, so it is possible to melt complementary colors. Just make sure they're not on the same level. All right, so moving on to my next section. With this section, I'm going to put a pop of red in here. All right, make sure I melt that down really well. Make sure that blends, and again, not removing color, all right, but just slightly melting it together. Keep your hands clean. Now I'm going to move on to my next color. I just used purple, so I think I'm going to go back with the purple for the ends right here. So throughout this look, you'll see variations of these colors that will pop out within her hair when we get to the styling part. It's gonna be a very beautiful color. I'm super excited about it. I actually love melting colors together. Okay, so just move on to my next section. And you guys, this is just pretty much, repetition at this point, going through, kind of picking and choosing what colors you want to lay where. I kind of look at everything, kind of get a pattern going. So I'm going to start right here with my orange. So that should give me a nice pop right there in the mid shaft area. Okay, blend that in, make sure I melt really good into that base tone that we pulled to the ends here. Keep my hands clean. And see, since I alternated red there, I think I'm gonna put red on the ends here. So you guys, whatever you see, whatever your vision is, you can create it, and pick what colors where you want them. It doesn't have to be a set way. You're creative, I'm creative, we're all artists. Your vision may be different from mine. So you're able to be creative with this. You do not have to do it exactly like I'm showing you here. All right, so just take another section. I'm slicing out pieces, making sure I'm not getting too thick of sections. And I'm looking at what I have created so far to see where I want to go with this. And I think I'm going to go back with the purple again on top of that. So you can create your own patterns It's totally up to you to be creative and come up with your own looks and own designs when it comes to doing your color. Especially if your clients give you free range to be creative and do whatever you want to do. I absolutely love those clients that come in and sit in my chair and be like, do whatever you want to do. I'll be like, yes, super excited. Let's get it. All right, so again, melting my orange or my purple into my orange. Making sure I saturate, moving the hair around, getting that color in there really good, and melt right here without removing color, but just blending everything together. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with my back section here. I'm just gonna continue going through, alternating my colors and accenting pops of color where I want it to pop out at. Okay, start over here, add my red at the top. Make sure I give a nice blend there. Clean my hands again. Always make sure you have a clean towel ready and available to clean your hands. All right. All right, so as you guys can see, I'm working on my last two sections here, and you can see it's coming along very beautifully. I think this is gonna be something that she really loves and that she is very proud and happy to wear, be super excited about. Okay, so as you can see, I got colors blending and melting into each other, and they're gonna work very well together. So I'm gonna finish these last two sections here to make sure they kind of mirror the other side to make sure everything is balanced. So I'm gonna put a purple here, coming from my base tone. Again, using my technique with my hand as my board, making sure I'm working the color through, getting good saturation. You guys, saturation is key. You always wanna make sure you have good saturation. You do not want spots in your color when you finish. All right, so I'm gonna melt this into a nice red here. Make sure I got that melted in, using my fingers very gently within that blend. All right, and just bringing everything down, not removing color, but just seamlessly making sure I have good saturation. All right, so this is my very last section. I am going to give it a pop here with orange. All right, melting that again, using my fingers, but not removing the color, you guys. That is key. All right, just add a little more for good saturation. And then, let me see, maybe I'll go with this last piece being red here. All right, but you guys remember, if you need any help, you know, with understanding hair color, if you're that stylist that is very uncomfortable with hair color and need a more or better understanding about it, you know, please check out my coloring book. You can go to my website, www.itstammyb.com. I created that book because when I started, you know, I was very afraid of color, and my mentor, Mr. Kevin Kirk, told me everyone else was as well. So I wanted to do my part in helping people with being able to be more comfortable with color. So that's why I created my coloring book. It's an easy read, and you're definitely going to get a better understanding. And besides, hey, I become your friend for life, right? All right, so you guys, this is my finished look. I hope you guys, are liking it and anxious to see how it comes out. We're going to let her process for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to take her back, rinse her out with cold water. You guys, cold water is the key. Cold water helps close the cuticle down, while hot water opens the cuticle. So if you use hot water on this, you're going to lose some of the vibrancy in your color. So make sure you use cold water. So we're going to rinse her out with cold water, and then we'll stabilize her. Stabilizer is Kurt Pro Stabilizer. I love this because it actually brings down the pH of my client's hair. It has a pH of a 3.5. It helps to close down the cuticle, helps to neutralize any color surfaces or relaxer surfaces as well, and also detangles and just add moisture to the hair as well. All right, so we'll stabilize her. Once we stabilize her, we'll give her another shampoo with Trifactor shampoo, and we'll condition it with Trifactor condition, strengthening and moisturizing all at the same time. I'll bring her back with my finished look. Super excited. All right, so this is my finished look. I absolutely love it. The colors came out vibrant, and I love the process and the steps that I took to be able to get this type of result. What do you think, Maria?
I love it.
You love it?
Yeah.
All right, shake your hair. And you guys, she has so much body. She has shine, she has vibrancy, and that's all because of the products that I use with Kurt Pro, that protein additive as well as the complex oil. You guys, color does not have to be hard at all. Very simple and easy. As long as you know the different variations of textures, density, porosities, and how a particular color line works, you can be creative and accomplish anything. So this is my finished look. I absolutely love it. It's vibrant. You guys, if you're interested in the products that I use to help ensure that I get these type of results, make sure you check out www.kevinkirkdesign.com, and don't forget to check out my website, www.itstammyb.com. That's ITSTAMMIEB, and get your coloring book and your workbook. I hope you guys have enjoyed this hour with me. Again, I'm super excited to be a part of this event. I can't wait to next year, next Bronner Brothers, so we can do this all over again. You guys, please reach out. Look me up at It's Tammie B on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.